just came back from a workout on God NL, hence the ski cap and the gloves, because it was cold as hell, but I digress. That's not important. That's not important. What's important here is what happened a few days ago. On ParVision's channel, we did a stream talking about, essentially the main me here was Anime NYC, because myself, ParVision, other content creators like Hidden, Daxake, Ohime, Tanuki, KevDog, we all met up during Anime NYC this year, and it was a pretty good time. On one Friday, but that Friday was a damn good day. Took a lot of pictures, met a lot of fans. By the way, if I met you there, let me know in the comment section down below, without a doubt. Shout yourself out. I got this huge Ace and post time skip Luffy impelled down sort of figurine mural thing, but I have to set it up. Even though it was already set up at the expo, I have to do it myself at some point in the future, which, knowing me, when I say soon, that could be ways away. But the main meat for this video, after the expo, we were out and about in the city, and we started to have various conversations, had some drinks, had more conversations, stuff like that. And at some point, we got to the conversation of Shanks and the 5 elders, the Gorosei. One room, whoa, not that kind of, no. I'm talking about combat. Whoa, combat. 1 Shanks, 5 elders. Yo, what happens? Does Shanks leave the room? Matter of fact, does Shanks walk away beating the Gorosei? Or do the Gorosei beat Shanks down? So this was a fun as hell conversation, both in IRL and on that stream. Link in the box below to ParVision stream, and then much love to everyone, because it was absolutely a fun time. But right now, it's me and you. Saddle up, it's me and you. And since you're here, you might as well just give the video a quick thumbs up and support the channel by subscribing to the channel. When it comes to the situation with Shanks and the Gorosei, I thought about it for a while. And honestly, I'm thinking about branching out to not just Shanks, but I'm thinking now I could honestly apply this to Yonko, like Shanks, Prime, Whitebeard, Kaido, and Big Mom. We can break this down into 2 main areas. One is more portrayal and narrative focused. The other one is more power scale focused. I'm gonna obviously save that one for last. Duh. So let's focus on the more portrayal and the more narrative one first, the way of viewing this. Shanks getting out of the room. Let's insert Kaido getting out of the room. Let's put Big Mom getting out of the room. A Prime Whitebeard getting out of the room when all 5 Gorosei, so we're talking about St. J. Garcia Saturn, Topman, Ethan, Marcus Mars, and Shepard, they strike at an emperor of that caliber. What I would call the peak Yonko. If you don't know, boom, video over here on those details. Check that out after this video. Here's the thing, and I think it's undeniable. Narratively speaking, it's pretty obvious that the Gorosei and Emu, particularly Emu, but the Gorosei are in contention to be the final villains of the series. Now, who's to actually say they're gonna be Luffy's final villains? Let's say they're gonna be Sabos or Dragons. Potentially, dumb it down even more, and let's say they could be Zoro's final villain, or Sanji, or Jinbei, or Robin, right? So who's to really say that they're gonna be the final opponents, like Luffy stand on business, 1v6, him versus the Gorosei and Emu? Maybe he's gonna stand on business, and that's gonna be the final for the story. However, the Gorosei have continuously portrayed themselves in a somewhat inferior position to Yonko in the past. Clearly, it all starts off with Shanks and Whitebeard meeting up. When the Gorosei got word that they were having a slumber party, what'd they do? Send the Armada! What did Shanks do? Bing! And the Armada was done. Literally. Bing! Like an actual Mechagodzilla death ray. And then it was over. End of the Armada. And you know, maybe I'm gassing up the fear of the Gorosei. But there was some sweat there. Yeah. there was some sweat there for sure. The same energy was maintained when Big Mom and Kaido, when they had a meetup. We have the Marines, they're freaking out like, oh my God, it's happening. And then Kizaru has that line, well, shall I go and stop them? Sakazuki like, bro. That being said, what do we find out? When you have the Gorosei about to go meet King Cobra and they're going to the throne, you have them talking about Big Mom and Kaido in reference to the Paramount War and how the rolling won't cease. Yeah. A lot of times, the Gorosei don't look all that good. More often than not, they don't. And it's not just for, let's say, the meetups, it's for individual Yonko. We all know that in the Road to Laugh Tale, there is, and it's been discussed about the translation, whether or not it is or is the case, but the idea is that ultimately, when Shanks makes his move, he sends ripples across the world, figuratively, likely, literally, possible, who knows. And the idea also is that the Gorosei, they can't keep him in check. Though given the vagueness of that line, according to Hidden during the stream, it could mean something akin to like when the sleeping lion makes his move, it's like big waves, some of that sort. It seems very vague, but I think ultimately it just kind of refers to how, yeah, even though Shanks was in that room, he was doing them a solid. The Rat King squeaked on in and he was doing them a solid.
And people mistaken Shanks' kindness or his desire in the past to maintain equilibrium as weakness, and that has always been foolish.
But then what do they say about Kaido when Luffy transforms into Nika? They literally say, listen, man, we lost one of our best agents, Guernica, and we made Kaido mad. Was it worth it? Hello? And we made Kaido mad. Rainbow later on backs that up, like, yo, if Kaido's here, I'm not gonna stay here. There's a reason why, since the very beginning of the series of One Piece, the Yonko have ruled over the New World. And in order to maintain a power balance, the world government and the Marines, they needed the warlord system to try and balance out the power of the emperors. And the emperors kept themselves in check in the New World, because if one emperor made a move, then the other one would go in there and do what? They would try and seize control of that territory. Also, keep in mind the fact that someone like Blackbeard, during the Kobe flashback, Blackbeard could literally get a full-class Marine battleship and capture 800 Marines, and the Marines couldn't do a damn thing unless they got orders. They didn't want to start an actual full-scale war or full-scale battle with Yonko, because we saw what happened when they had to do for one. Paramount War, Whitebeard, a sickly Whitebeard required so much on the part of the world government to defeat him and his allies.
And yes, obviously, not every character is going all out. Whitebeard had a heart attack and so on and so forth. The point ultimately is, again, the world government felt it necessary to mobilize all those forces against one Yonko and their invading armada.
The Yonko at their peak, I think that if you put one of them in that room, and the Gorosei try and flex on him, they try and take him out,
I am confident that said Yonko would be able to get out of that room.
Because not only are their combat skills off the charts, but also there's this continuous fear. We see it time and time again in the story. Whether it's one individual Yonko or two of them having a meetup, you have to engage in all out war with their crews. And in doing so, the lives lost, the damage done, the manpower you have to accumulate is likely the most harrowing task they have to do. Even though the elders are going to be future opponents, we don't know where they're going to lie in the pecking order based on that and that alone. They could be opponents in the future for Luffy, a stud like him, or they could be opponents for Ivankov. We don't know how powerful they are just yet, exactly.
But in terms of in-story portrayal, and I would argue narrative, right now it seems to favor the Yonko above the Gorosei.
And now let's look over to the Powerscale side, which is the more toxic side, the more fun side, but at the same time the shortest side, because what can we really say about them in terms of power right now? We know that Jay has these sort of dark side Omega beams. He looks at you, wing, and then you just die if you're a weakling. Though Bonnie in a weakened state and Sanji can eat those attacks. Now, Bonnie did stab Jay, and he did recover like instantly. The immortality thing I think is gonna be important here, but are they genuinely powerful combatants? Let's say to the same degree as, there's a big question here, as the admirals.
There has been quite a bit of back and forth about whether or not the elders are stronger than people like Green Bull, Fujitora, Kizaru, potentially Kuzan, or Akainu.
Because people then always bring up, well, hold on now. If they're really that good, why didn't they move out, mobilize across the entire world and seize control? Because effectively, at points in time, you don't just have 3 admirals. Technically, you have 8. 8 admirals, bro.
Some folks will go as far as say that they're actually as strong as Yonko themselves. So you'd have 5 you'd have 5 Emperor class dudes that do nothing.
And folks would say, well, they have to protect Emu, but CP0 does that. And we see Jay clearly moving now. The protection line seems kind of moot at this point in time, honestly.
This subtopic was something that we kind of focused on a lot during the ParVision stream. There are arguably deeper reasons as to why the Gorosei would not move in the lesser realms, even though they had the power, the quote-unquote power to do so. Before this video, we're not here to discuss the potential deeper machinations of the Gorosei.
What I am comfortable in saying is that if they are immortals in some sense, and their powers are particularly unique, and there's always that potential of weird things going on, like for example, Emu could be controlling the Gorosei directly, Jay directly, and that's how Jay can teleport these quote-unquote magic circles. And of course, why he has that line of, it's been a long time since I've come to the surface world, stuff like that. But all of these things, I think so far are pointing to the Gorosei being gimmick-based fighters, where they have a particular overpowered aspect of their power, but if you can overcome that, it's free game. And I do recall hearing this, I think it was in an episode of the Red Force podcast, because I think the idea makes the most sense so far, at least so far. Again, maybe they can crip walk on people like Kizaru and people like Green Bull if they really wanted to, but so I need to see a lot more evidence than just Saturn tried to step on Luffy when he was in his giant bug ox Ushioni form. That's nowhere near enough. That's not even close to being enough. And keep in mind that while they were transformed, a good old boy named Sabo was there. He was there when all the Gorosei plus Emu were transformed, and Sabo, as far as I can tell, not sweating, kind of looking around like, whoa, hell is here, okay. And he has to run away with King Cobra. If not for King Cobra, may not get tagged at all by Emu. And mind, that's Emu, not Saturn, not Topman. As far as you know, that's Emu. Emu's a whole different matter. Emu's a whole different breed. But it's things like that that, again, so far make me believe that when push comes to shove, if it was Shanks or if it was another Yonko, like a Big Mom or a Prime Whitebeard, if they have to deal with these forces of nature in their room, 1v5, I can't deny it. I am putting money on Yonko. I'm putting money on Yonko. I could be wrong. I admit it. I could be capping hella hard, but I need to see a lot more evidence to put Jay on like the level of an admiral. An admiral, bro. People that can permanently change the entire ecosystem of a whole island for life, bro. Let alone someone like Luffy who stun locked Kizaru with a single punch. Let alone guys that are stronger than Luffy, like Big Mom, Kaido, Shanks, and Prime Whitebeard. So, that being said, you know where I stand. You know exactly where I stand. If I'm proven wrong one day, I will bite that bullet. But right now, I'm pretty comfortable. I'm pretty comfortable. Because the elders themselves, they've glazed the Yonko for too damn long. it's not, bro, they themselves have glazed the Yonko for that long. Hey. Let me know where you stand in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this video, once again, make sure to, of course, give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click on that bell to join the notification squad. I'm going to catch you guys on the flip side.
See you. Bye-bye.